Hello and welcome to Kushti TV, the straight talking YouTube channel, and today's topic is performance enhancing drugs. Yes, we know it's widely known in sports, but as it is the very clean sport of golf, and will the cloud that lay over arguably the greatest golfer ever, Tiger Woods, will the cloud ever leave him in suspicion that he had taken performance enhancing drugs? Does the golfing authorities really want to flag this up? They're littered with long drive equipment, sponsors, etc. The crowd want to see the golf ball go further. Yes, the topic we're touching on today. Should it be in sport? Is it cheating? Is it acceptable? Did it happen? And furthermore, is it the right message to be sent out there to the young wannabe players? Today I will be speaking to a former European #1 long hit champion and a world #3, and he once held a world record for hitting the longest ball on land ever. Yes, he'll be touching on this subject with me, so sit back, belt up, or should we say make a cuppa, and let me waffle on and point out some facts that other journalists have laid bare. And you can make your own decision. Yes, I'll make my opinion known as well. And yes, you can come in and leave me a message. So remember to click and subscribe. But beyond that, leave me a comment. See what your take on this. Right. Okay. So when we have the sport of football, we associate it with a little clip on the ankle and a massive dive. And I must confess, for me it's ruining the game. I don't know what you think out there. I mean, so many of my boys love football. I love football. I'm a Brentford fan. We're an happy household. Come on, 13th in the Premier League, first time ever in the Premier League, 74 years since we last hit the top flight, so we're happy bunnies. But one of the things that my brother said to me, we must go and watch the Man U home game, us hosting Man U, we must see Ronaldo. And I said, no, Ronaldo doesn't do it for me. Come on, he's one of the greatest footballers ever. I said, I can't forgive him for that sort of trip and that nod and a wink to his fellow players when he got Wayne Rooney sent off. And that's the distasteful stuff I detest in the sport of football. Yeah, where it's going on, there's a report that as a Premier League club, 63% of its players are asthmatics are allowed to take this performance enhancing drug because they're asthmatic. I'm not saying they're not asthmatic, but it's a huge coincidental proportion, isn't it? 63% of fit young athletes are asthmatic. They call it performance asthma. I was a boxer. I never had it. I spent years as a professional boxer. I might not have been the greatest athlete in the world, but I was also a knuckle fighter. I remember going back in 1989, I fought out on the cobbles with a professional fighter for 43 minutes. I stammered it out. That's not bad. Almost the first half of a football match. And I trained hard, so yeah, I'm a big old heavy bloke now. You might call me fat, but I'll accept that as well. But I was an athlete in my time, and I was around a lot of boxers, and we didn't see asthma really, you know, with the odd exception. It was there, with the odd exception, but 63%. So I associate that with football. I'm sorry, if you're willing to trip and pretend to die in a penalty area, of course, you're cheating. So if you're willing to do that, would you be willing to take something that makes you perform better? Your manager, your team, because bear in mind that your manager has instructed you to get in the box and trip over and pretend to die, yeah? Right, so I can see that and believe it. But in the beautiful, wonderful, clean sport of golf, is there really performance enhancing drugs? Well, you know, if so, how disappointing is it? Because the game of golf is played with honour, integrity, cap off, handshake, good shot, silence. Quite the opposite from what football portrays itself as win at all costs. We play the game for the love of the game. I'll give you an example. I was recently playing in the Croatian Senior Open, and we're in the final group, and let's get this right, not a huge, beautiful golf course, slightly diluted event, not a hugely strong field, but I was in the final group and I hit my ball left. And playing partners, a few spectators and caddies alike. My wife was caddying and she found the ball just in nick of time. And it was an horrendous lie. But the whole crowd and playing partners, caddies, made it over the other side, the fairway. Now we're all eagerly awaiting to see if I want to take on this really hard shot over the bunker. Only about 80 yards, but really difficult shot. Horrendous lie, over the bunker, water at the back. Well, I'm below a bank. They could probably see my waist. I can't see the ball. There's no cameras rolling. It's an amateur event. I'm an amateur now. It would have been just so easy if we managed to scoop the ball onto a good lie and have a clear shot to the flag. Of course, that would have been completely out and out, utterly cheating. So we then asked the crowd to move back, so we have to come out sideways. We can't play the shot forward. It's just such a risky shot, I can't do it because the lie's against me. And that is the honour that I don't want any praise for that, of course. That's how well sport's played. Tom goes 70 yards right, Harry goes 60 yards left, and Dick goes straight down the middle. And Dick just entrusts Harry 60 yards left and Tom 70 yards right to play their shots. That's the honour and the entrustment we have in the game. But in this beautiful game where we have a dress code, take your hat off, shake your hand, be silent, give order to the man on the tee. Has that sport gone dirty with drugs? Yes, so I want your opinion. Yeah, I'm going to lay some facts bare that professional journalists over the years and players have stated. Also joining me for a brief talking today is former European #1 long it champion 7 years in a row, ranked 3 in the world. He's going to be touching on his opinion on steroid use in long it game and regular golf. Please, did you have any knowledge of steroid use in long it and golf?
So we go back to your first question, Joe. I mean, it is a taboo subject when it comes to talking about steroids and performance enhancing drugs within golf, and it's absolutely not the right way to go as far as encouraging the youth or the newcomers to the sport to go down that route. Absolutely not. I mean, it is worrying when you look at the guys on the tour and the size of their upper body, and without, as you said, without any real proof or evidence, they're either really hitting the gym ridiculously hard twice a day to get the kind of physiques that you're seeing on tour. And some of the distances, I mean, granted the technology's come on leaps and bounds even from when I started competing, which was back in 2005, so distances inevitably is always going to increase, but these guys are swinging it now at speeds on tour, the same speed as what I was swinging it as a long drive professional. So anything in excess of 145 mile an hour clubbing speed is not normal at all.
Of course, what we have to remember in the long it game, still all of these brands, yes, that we use regular brands. I will say example, Titleist, Ping, Mizuno, yeah, example, okay, Lynx, Callaway, all right, just example brands, yeah, tailor-made. They're all supporting and sponsoring long it champions. We want to see it go further, so by supporting this stuff, now, but bear in mind, let's see if the PEDs in the game and opinions, but we're sending the right message out to the young wannabe player. So these are the areas we're going to touch on. Yeah. So in 2007, here was a quote from the great Gary Player: "If the authorities in golf believe their sport is clean, they have their head stuck deep in a bunker." One player had told him, yes, that he was on performance enhancing drugs, other words, steroids. And the player that confided in him actually said that there's at least 10 more to his knowledge. So, according to Gary Player, yes, Hall of Famer, one of the most achieved major winners ever, a great figure, and a man that worked hard on his fitness. He was noted to be the fitness freak, if you like. He said that golf is not clean. Yes, bold statement by a bold man. or just a factual statement? Yes. Yes, so drugs, performance enhancing drugs are out there according to Gary Player, and the most popular golfer, arguably ever, second most achieved golfer ever, Tiger Woods. Will he ever be able to shake off this cloud hanging over himself as to a person that has used performance enhancing drugs? Of course, I'm not saying Tiger Woods used performance enhancing drugs. I do believe if you fed Tiger Woods on kebab and chips all day, every day, he would still be a great player. But there is a cloud hanging over Tiger Woods that refuses to leave him easily in the area of performance enhancing drugs. The brilliant Sky commentator Ewan Murray, also a brilliant golfer in his day, plays himself down, but he was a brilliant European Tour player. Ewan Murray, very nice gentleman, and I think very professionally opinionated and spoken, and he had written something on Tiger Woods. Ewan Murray had wrote when Tiger was arrested in August 2017. He was found to have 2 drugs in his system that were banned by the PGA Tour. So he had 2 performance drugs, as the PGA Tour ruled them, in his system. Yeah, why they were in his system, that we don't know, but Ewan Murray had said he had 2 banned substances from the PGA Tour in his system, and it was fact. Murray said it, and he had to undergo a test to see what he had taken, because he was driving under the influence, and he was found guilty. So there's 2 facts there. He wasn't playing that week, that we know. He was drunk, drugged, driving, okay, under the influence. But 2 banned substances were in the great Tiger Woods' system from the PGA Tour. Now, around the same time, the first player to be hit with a ban, strangely enough, was Scott Stallings. Now, good player for many years. Of course, out of tour card for many years. Scott had not failed a drug test. He had alerted the authorities he had taken a banned substance for health reasons, and he actually taken a test and was negative, but by his own admissions he served a 90-day ban for, you know, putting a red flag up on himself. Yeah. More suspicion lay over that of Tiger Woods, and again I say this is suspicion, and I'm not writing this stuff, other people have written it and I'm stating it. There was a doctor by the name of Dr. Anthony Galli. Yes, the doctor that treated the biggest cheat in baseball, Alex Rodriguez. He was his doctor, and he was found with huge amounts of performance enhancing drugs, also known as human growth hormone. So Anthony Gallia, also his doctor, his partner Mark Lindsay, another doctor, they treated Tiger Woods between September 2009 round to October 2010, so 13-month gap. 49 times Tiger has spent £200,000 with these 2 doctors. The very same 2 doctors and their assistant had been found guilty of bringing over human growth hormone drug, HGH, over the Canadian and US border, and they were found guilty. They pleaded to a lesser charge, but that's what they had in tow. They dragged it down from HGH, but basically it was in their possession, and they pleaded guilty for committing that crime. So you've got to, you know, you can see where suspicion lays in the way of, has he taken performance enhancing drugs? He's practically, in layman terms, seen a doctor that has been involved with one of the biggest sports cheats athletes ever, Alex Rodriguez, and they have also been found guilty of bringing in performance enhancing drugs across the Canadian-US border. And to think that they've been to see Tiger Woods average once a week, he spent $200,000. It's no mean feat, it's quite a bit of money. So if you think of spending an approximately 4k each session, I think, is that right? Almost 200k over the space of 1 year, 49 times. Yeah, so layman terms, it's near enough once a week. So you can see why suspicion lay in that did Tiger Woods take performance enhancing drugs. Yes. Mark Lindsay, Anthony Galli, convicted cheat, doctors if you like, who dealt with convicted cheat, Alex Rodriguez, seen Tiger Woods 49 times in a 1 year period, almost once a week, at the cost of almost 4k per session. It's a lot of money. And that fact laid bare was by Golf Digest, not by me, Golf Digest. I'm just pointing out what others have mentioned. Yes. Another interesting one, Rory McIlroy stated in 2016 at the Open Championship when asked about performance enhancing drugs in golf. He stated he'd only been tested once that year. They get tested no more than 4 or 5 times per year max, and only once that season so far. I remember the Opens in July, so 7 months through the season, fairly sort of probably mid to late way through the season, and he'd been tested once, and he said if I was to take human growth hormone drugs, wouldn't show out because we're on a urine test, so urine test wouldn't show, and I didn't know that. Apparently only shows in blood test, so up until 2017 it wouldn't have shown anyway, and I didn't know that Rory did. Why he knew that, I suppose he's out there, it's been mentioned to him, I don't know, but he stated the fact. But he then went on to say he doesn't believe there's a performance enhancing drug out there that could make you a better golfer. Well, that's another valid opinion. But he does say there are drugs out there that make you stronger, and there are also drugs out there that can make you concentrate more. Well, I wasn't aware of the concentrate more drug, but surely if you're stronger, potentially with the right training and advice, you'll do it further. And he then goes on to say he wish there's no performance drug out there that will make you play better, but he then goes on to say but he wished there was more stringent test. So I find that very, very confusing. There's a drug out there that makes you concentrate. All you golfers at home, you've ever been playing well for 15 holes and you just lose it, or 12 holes? So there's a drug out there that makes you concentrate better. Surely it's got to raise your performance. There's a drug out there that makes you stronger. Surely it's got to make you perform better, make you a bit longer. So longer and concentrate more. But he then goes on quite contradictory to say that he don't believe anything can help him, but he'd like to see more stringent tests. Is he suggesting, if he'd like to see that there is performance enhancing drugs? Quite contradictory there to me. Just couldn't quite make any sense of what he quoted. Concentration, strength, but nothing will make you play better. And I thought concentration and strength would make you play better. But what was very interesting there was a urine. It doesn't come out, and these players are aware of it. If you were to take something, it wouldn't come out in a urine test. Yes. So then we went on to Bryson DeChambeau. We had the thoughts of Adam Stacey, the world number 3 long hit man, and 7 European number 1s. We've had his thoughts on where he sees it in golf and how difficult it is to put muscle on. And as he said, it's huge amounts of calories per day. He does all that stuff, he does his training 5-6 days a week, and he said yes, he did bulk up some over the years, but nothing like what we're seeing. One of the talked about, again, completely never found guilty, completely innocent, the US Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau, put on 30 pounds of muscle in 90 days, and he's willing to prove his innocence. In fact, he's stated and many times, I'll prove it, I haven't failed a test, and this is the way I do it, and it can be done. 30 pounds of muscle in 90 days. It's probably, and according to him, it's possible. But to try to put on a couple of pounds of muscle when we have fighters making weights and going up weights in the boxing game, and they're quite fit athletes, you know, they do fight for the best part of 45 minutes, and you're in a sport where somebody's trying to hurt you, knock you out, take your title, break your ribs, break your nose. They don't want to hurt you in longevity, but they do want to break your bones and knock you out and get you out of there, because you're trying to do the same to them. These are pretty fit guys, but we go into camp with title fights and professionals, and to try and put on 2, 3, 4 pound of muscle takes months to get 2, 3, 4 pound. 30 pound. I would just like to know, you tell me at home, is it performance enhancing drugs? Is it hormone growth? Yeah? Or am I missing a trick? So where did all this stuff come from? It comes from the body shape. Why did the cloud lay over the great Tiger Woods? The brilliant golfer that made the game look easy for so many years. Well, body change was one of the things. When you start seeing these doctors that have been banned, you know, with such high profile athletes like Alex Rodriguez, and they've been banned for bringing the stuff in. And they're huge charges to go and see a patient once a week. You're going to lay in suspicion. But the other thing is body change, isn't it? I mean, 40 pounds. We see many, you know, take a look here, many images of players changing. And what Gary Player said, yeah, so I'm accusing nobody. But what I'm saying is, it's debate, isn't it? I'd like to know the formula of this changing from that to that. I really would. And the other thing that really strikes me is we go on about the world's #1 golfers, the world's #2s and 3s, and they practice so hard and they gym so hard. Well, as I said to you earlier, I'd been a professional golfer for 25 years, and when I went out there and took an hour to get from my hotel with my shower and breakfast, and that was 1 hour gone in the day, and another hour to warm up and loosen up and all the bits to go with it, and hit a few balls. That's then 2 hours gone, 5 hour tournament round. You then come back and sign your card, and you then maybe take some food and rest for half an hour and then deliberate on what went wrong in your round. You then go and practice on that, and the time you do that and get back to your hotel, it's a 10-hour day. And I never had enough energy to want to go to the gym as a tournament professional. Do lots of winter work, Sevies, Langers, all of these guys, you know, Lyles, Fellows, they all done their winter work, but during tournament play, Brooks Koepka, as Adam said, he wanted to know why there wasn't a gym at the Ryder Cups. He wants to train twice a day. Well, maybe you're just a different athlete to me, Brooks, but I never had the energy. I'll reiterate, I could fight outside for first half of a football match against a professional fight and tough out or win. I could do that, but I never had enough energy to play practice 10 hours, then go to the gym. Of course I could go to the gym, Brooks, but I would be screwed over for the next day. I had to go and do it all again the next day. I didn't make many cuts, but if I was lucky enough, I had to go and do it 4 days in a row. You guys make nearly every cut. So you've got to do pro-am practice rounds. You're doing this 6 hours a day, and then there's report that players are taking. Tiger Woods was reported, and again the press stated that he needs a sleeping pill, a sleeping drug. You blind man, neck, mate, I'm just using me. I'll accept it. I was a lowly ranked professional golfer. I'll accept that. But I thought human beings run fairly parallel, made you different skill sets. You know, like example, somebody might be the world archery champion and the different skill sets, a world dart champion. These gifted areas, but I thought we're all fairly much human beings that needed just sort of 6, 7, 8 hours sleep. Sleeping pills after doing what? Practicing the hardest in the world and using all this gym work. Did their body shape come from hard work in the gym? Is it just a cloud where they go, let's just put something over this to say, let people know we're training really hard, and in fact they're not training as hard as they claim. It's always something giving them the energy to train. Debate. And what message, if so, Paul Wasson just stated here after the Bryson DeChambeau win. He actually stated, what message is this sending out to high school kids? Well, in the UK we say school children, college, you know, ready to try and make it. Do we have to have a big set of muscles? Do we have to take performance enhancing drugs to achieve it? Because trust me, if you want to get big, many of you won't achieve it. Not by hard working training, because I've seen it with my own two eyes. I see it in boxing gyms. Yes, I've got a son-in-law that's tall, wiry lad. He'd love to be bigger. Takes all these protein shakes, uses a gym, works in a scrapyard. Gets a little bit bigger, but not much. So let me know, yes, where's the game going? Should the sponsors be drawing back on this, or should they just let it go? Or should we all be able to take performance enhancing drugs and we all have the choice? You tell me, what is the answer? Should we just all tee it up, bang it as far as we can? Do we jeopardise our health? Because there's lots of naughty bits that come with it. You remember the cyclist Armstrong? They said he wouldn't have been top 200 in the world and he was clearly number one. But the side effects, he had dreaded cancer. I've seen boxers take performance enhancing drugs, sadly suffer with heart complications and so on. I do just worry that the sport of golf will end up completely unclean in the way that of football. You know, if I was to break a rule, performance enhancing drugs, and then I might be tempted to clean out my grooves too deep and make my wedge spin a bit more. And these players are under the spotlight, of course. And bear in mind, I'm not accused of cheating. I'm just saying, if a player had taken performance enhancing drugs, would he be tempted to make his wedge grooves a little deeper, spin his ball near the hole? And if he played like me and you with no crowd, wonder how tempted it might be, if you've already broken a couple of rules, to scoop your ball onto a good lie. Just the way I'm seeing it. So what do? Do we play the sport where the beautiful once dress code, you know, where do you remember the Pringle and the Lyle Scott and the Farah trousers were the most beautiful? The Rolex watches have always been involved in men's fashion. Do we try and put our best dress on, play a game, take our cap off, shake hands? Or do we accept that we can now walk around with trainer type golf shoes on and no collar on your shirt and just launch it with great big muscles? What do the game of golf do? Do they rein it in? Do we have proper testing to ensure? Because it's certainly, there's been no proper testing to ensure this doesn't happen. Yeah, so we're telling you now, golf authorities, yeah, get some proper testing done on tour, because it could well be there. If it's not, at least we'll know it's not if we have proper regular testing. And what message we want to send out to our youngsters? Do you want your son to be a bulging, muscled, big, strong guy that barges people, or would you prefer him to take a cap off, shake an hand, be a gentleman? You tell me, which game do we prefer? I prefer the old one, but that's just me. But I am old, and hopefully I'll be doing it a lot longer from now. Maybe one day I might even be playing around with my grandsons, due to my persistence of going to the gym, doing a little bit without performance enhancing steroids. At least I can't get any nasty niggles underneath with these against the natural grain of life drugs. At least it'll only be my old drop of pies than the other things I do in life. Thanks for tuning in.